Welcome to DEMOCREPUBLIX, where we cover the real news that matter to we the people. Jeffrey Epstein's money myth. How alleged sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein got rich is still a mystery. The Washington Examiner reports that perhaps the source of his fortune, which prosecutors pegged north of $500 million during, may have originated with Epstein himself. Friends say he bragged to them in the 1980s that he was a global bounty hunter for unspecified governments. Investigators revealed the raid of the accused child sex New York City residents uncovered a now expired passport issued in the 1980s by a foreign country with Epstein's picture, but with a different name and a residence listed in Saudi Arabia. Prosecutors said during Epstein's hearing that the passport was in a locked safe that was also filled in dozens of diamonds. Prosecutors last week said they examined bank records that suggest Epstein earns at least $10 million per year, and they suggested that every to them. Friends from the early 1980s recalled that Epstein used to claim that he was a bounty hunter who sought to retrieve the government or very rich people, according to a Vanity Fair article by Vicky Ward. A former senior White House official recounted that outgoing Labor Secretary Alex Acosta said during interviews for the administration position that he had been told during the 2008 case against Epstein that Epstein belonged to intelligence, according to a July article by Ward for the Daily Beast. Acosta largely dodged a question about this at his press conference last week, but accused journalists of going down rapid career began with a brief stint as a teacher at the elite New York City prep school, the Dalton School, in the 1970s, which reportedly ended with his dismissal. But while at Dalton, he made connections that landed him at Turns, where he worked before setting out on his own. In 1981, he and ran out of his apartment. That was followed by the founding of J. Epstein & Co., a money management firm in the mid-1980s. Epstein claimed in 2003 that he was almost absurdly select limited investment with $1 billion or more. Epstein owns a $77 million Manhattan mansion, a massive Palm Beach, Florida estate, a sprawling ranch and castle-like abode in New Mexico, an expensive apartment in Paris, being often dubbed or Pedophile Island. Author and former friend of Epstein shed light on Epstein's 1980 boasts. When contacted by the Washington Examiner, a piece he wrote Epstein in 1986 and says that Epstein presented himself as having a double identity, as not just a money man, quote, worked for governments to African dictators, Kornbluth. Those dictators hired him to help them hide their stolen money. Kornbluth said in the piece he was intrigued by Epstein's story, that I was interested in writing about him, and that the prospect of an entire book about Epstein exploits convinced him that I should see a sample of his craft. He of a Park Avenue South. Epstein intended on serving a subpoena to a law firm, but Epstein didn't get past the figure trying to serve us. When to do that, my interest lapsed. Epstein's dramatic claims about recovering loot from foreign dictators and about helping foreign dictators has never been substantiated. Quote, I believe every word that Epstein told me was unverifiable and fantasy, Kornbluth told the Washington Examiner. Their friendship ultimately ended in 1987. The night before our marriage, Epstein called. It's your last free night, he told my wife-to-be. Why don't you come over and F me, Kornbluth wrote. Epstein described himself as in finding missing money when pitching people on the financial expertise in the 1980s, according to the Wall Street Journal. Epstein faces charges that he at his homes in Manhattan, Florida, among other locations between 2002 and 2014-page federal indictment. Epstein pleaded not guilty in federal court last Monday. For the controversial non-prosecution agreement with Epstein attorneys in 2008 resigned as Labor Department Secretary last week. Epstein's sweetheart deal level prosecution solicited to a 17-year-old girl, just 13 months in a pump with work with certain victims, and was required to register as a second, was reportedly struck before the investigation victims, and from some of the victims too. The only known figure whose money was managed by Epstein is billionaire retailer Les Wexner, the co-founder of and CEO of L Brand, which included Victoria's Secret, Abercrombie. The two men forged a starting in the 1980s. The allegations about Epstein first emerged. See, people knew about Epstein in the 1980s, and this guy is just now getting in trouble for this stuff. I mean, other than the sweetheart league, these girls finally might get some justice for this despicable acts this guy been doing. Let me know what you think about this. Watch and examine, share and subscribe, and show the latest in news. We live in a really nightmare. We live in a really nightmare.